Let's talk, doctor.
What's your last name, Mike?
My name is Michael Joseph,
Michael Joseph. Oh, okay.
and I'm here in Baltimore, Maryland. I'm here to speak with some of the people in the city who have the handle on the Black experience in Baltimore City. Tonight, I'm at Dr. Jawad Abdullah's home. He is going to tell us about his experience over the years and bring us to the present and where we go in the future.
Mm, okay.
So, welcome everyone who's looking on. We want to thank you for your presence.
Yes.
Most importantly, we want to thank you for the sacrifice of your time
Mhm.
as the interviewee. And those viewers, we want to thank you for your time for viewing.
Mhm. I do hope that I'm thankful first for the opportunity to be on camera and in person to give an account of my experience leaving Trinidad at age 18 in 1974. Up to that time, my affiliation with the steel pan was limited. We all know the history that steel pan came through, and we as individuals had to have some affiliation with the steel pan, not as it is today. Back then, it was more conservative, of a conservative type nature, wherein we would go to the panorama festivals and hear steel pan. However, pan wasn't accepted the way it is today. Uh, Initially, I was involved with Texaco West Stars in San Fernando band. A couple of times went to Panorama in Port of Spain, as well as affiliated with Front Clair, just as an observer, and also Juicy Antillian All Stars, some of the early bands in San Fernando, Hatters, and coming out of Guinness Cavaliers. So that's my early history before coming to the US. Now, before coming to the US at 16, I was attending John Donaldson in Port of Spain, doing mechanical engineering course there. And staying in Port of Spain during the week and going home on the weekends allowed me the opportunity to go around Port of Spain and see the different bands and to see what they were practicing so that I would have some better idea on the day of Panorama what their editions would comprise of. So I would go to YD Lima Blue Diamonds down at the marketplace on Charlotte Street and observe them. I'd go down by the Oval, Queens Park Oval, watch the Invaders and the other bands, Phase 2 and so around Port of Spain and solo harmonize. Coincidentally, it wasn't until I came to the United States. Now, I had one experience in Trinidad where my mother, God rest her soul, chased me out of the steel pan yard, said, "Boy, books are more important. You got to go study your books." So it turns out that when I came to Atlanta, I was first in Maryland in 1974, stayed there for about 10 years, and then I relocated to Atlanta. I started Morgan State in Baltimore, and then when I moved to Atlanta, I resumed my studies. I dropped out of college here in Baltimore and moved to Atlanta and resumed my studies at Morehouse College. I attended Morehouse from 85 to 89, where I got my bachelor's in physics. I now, as a student of Trinidad who failed common entrance, so now I came to America and was successful in getting my bachelor's degree. Thank the good Lord. So at that time, I met one Miss Dr. Adjamu Nyumba. He was a former solo Harmonites band member, and he had a band in Atlanta called Pan People Steel Pan. And Pan People comprised of 7 members. We would play to the schools in Baltimore County, in Atlanta County primarily, where we would be each paid $100 per hour, each of us, and of 7 of us. So we did pretty well. Do 3 schools a day, sometimes 3 days a week, and then we had gigs on the weekend. So that was my engagement with steel pan. So it turns out that what my mother said was true. Pan came later, so it sure did. So I was there. I started off playing. Well, I first was transporting the band from place to place, and then eventually the leader, Dr. Jamu Nyomba, said, "Hey, Jawad, why you play a cowbell?" And then it migrated to a iron, and then I was on the congas, and then he put me behind 2 double guitars, and then I went to tenor bass, then bass. and then they stuck me back on triple guitars. So I ran that for about 7 years with the band. We played all over Atlanta, functions, private functions, weddings, school events. We even went to Tennessee, we went to Florida, North Carolina. We were playing all in that region down there in the southeast U.S. So fast forward 1992 thereabouts, I relocated back to Baltimore for marriage and graduate school. So then at that juncture, 1992, I came and met several Trinidadians who wanted to form a steel pan here in Baltimore. And I said, well, I had my experience in pan people, Atlanta. Let me see how we can transition and merge that experience with those here in Baltimore. So met one, our late friend, Mr. Joseph Knight, and Mr. Chonqui, who was also, they're both from Belmont. Also met Curtis Archie. He played our bass, and Mr. Um, uh, there were several other members. Names slip me at this moment. Raleigh Emerald Gray. He was the leader arranger at the time, and he came in, and also Miss we had one lady who was a primary in the band, and we did some gigs around the city. Our local Central Arts Festival, and we traveled around the state. Now, I was in graduate school, so following my mother's advice, I rested the pan and went full-fledged into my graduate school, obtained my master's in 1997, and I just lingered doing additional courses in school, financial management, um, uh, urban uh, planning, and just several courses, things that I had an interest in, just to pursue that. And afterward, I heard that there was going to be a doctorate program starting at Morgan State University. Having no wife and children at the time, I said, okay, I'll join up. And I joined in 2000 and graduated in 2007 with a PhD in civil engineering. So all during those years, I supported all steel pan events here in Baltimore City. We have our local panorama now. During the time I was in the master's program, I met the late one Carl Marez, and he wanted a borrowed day here in Baltimore. Well, the time I left Trinidad in 1974, there wasn't no borrowed day that I knew of. But however, he came here to this area thereafter and told me about this borrowed day festival that they have in Point Fortin, and he would like to have the similar festival here as well in Baltimore. So I assisted him along with several others. They had a band that was formed by the McCarthy brothers over there in the church in Cherry Hill, this area called Cherry Hill. So we made Baltimore sister city to Point Fortin. We were able to get the then mayor of Point Fortin, Mr. Ian Bertrand, to come to Baltimore, met with our mayor. There was a proclamation signed, and so I in turn went on Mr. The late Carl Murray's behalf to Point Fortin, and we made a presence felt there that we were a sister city to the Borrow Day Festival. Fast forward again, we came back to the US and did it. Well, there was another friend of mine who grew up with me in Trinidad, actually, Mr. Leonard Jack, who was a prominent steel pan player, and he was with the band uh, Pan Masters in Washington D.C. And that was the main band going at the time. We of course right here in Baltimore we had Trinidad and Tobago Steel Pan organization with Mr. Semper. They too were the ones carrying the banner of the steel pan through this region. Mr. Leonard Jack formed this group called Fusion, and I remember going over to DC to some of the shows they had over there. There was a nightclub called the Crossroads, and then they would have an annual panorama festival of sorts where we'd have bands from Philadelphia and New York come down to participate. And speaking of which, remember Mr. Calmarez for our Borrow Day here in Baltimore, one event we had Ken Professor Fillmore come and perform live here in Baltimore, as well as Andy Norell. And so we had Women in Steel, and we had like 5, 6 bands, and we had the judges and so on. And we had a parade through the streets of Cherry Hill. Now, this is a primary uh, African American community, and to see us having that festive vibration and getting the support of the city officials. They gave us some funding to help put on the festival. So fast forward, Mr. Over in DC at the Smithsonian, Mr. Vaughn Martin of WPFW fame, he hosted a steel band event at a symposium at the Smithsonian Institute in Washington, D.C. And at that occasion, we were able to interact. We found out how they were able to conduct the carnival in Canada, and we were able to give the different perspectives from the different carnivals around. And I think in unity is strength. In Kiswahili, you say umoja ni nguvu. In unity, there's strength. And so when we're able to collect and get our opinions coalescing, we can break down the themes and find out where we can help each other. And so this way we could avoid having the discord that we know historically had plagued us with the steel pan. I know in Atlanta, in Florida, in New York, and notwithstanding so many bands in Trinidad, you start off and have a good vibes, and then all of a sudden something break off and things go apart. So rather than think of a book, well, I know things fall apart. But we want to stay away from that and be in a spirit of unity. And now it is we have to foster that spirit now. Now that the steel pan is recognized internationally, with the UN last year, 2023, announcing that steel pan would now be. We now will have World Steel Pan Day to be celebrated around the world, and such an achievement because to have gone, I've been to Germany 3 times and see steel pan in Germany. I've been to New York so many times for Labor Day and to see. I remember the first time coming down Eastern Parkway, and I heard steel pan in the distance and was dancing to the music. And then when I raised my head and looked up, I saw they were all white men on the truck, and they were U.S. Coast Guard men. And the first time I saw a whole band with nobody looking like me, and the music sweet. So this is the thing, we know that steel pan is able to move people, how it's able to be in convents and universities, and now in Trinidad is something that is sanctioned globally, and see others tend to love our music sometimes more than us, our own selves. Now, many reasons for that. Some of us, we all see the world through the eyes of our upbringing and development. Hence, you have this. It's not a universally felt uh, 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 um, tenor with individuals in Trinidad feeling based on their past experience how they take in the steel pan. But for me, it's a love, it's a passion. To see others gravitate to it. I see even locally here in Maryland, steel bands, high school steel bands, would perform like a panorama style. And these students are very avid panists. And they have our steel pans in pan cases with the Trinidad flag. How could you not support it? This is our culture. This is us. And it took many years of blood, sweat, and tears. I think of the likes of Ellie Manet and Winston Spree Simon and on. So many names to mention. And the development of the pan in the university to say they have come to that stature, and the G-pan, and to see that the evolving, that ball pan was a big thing when we first saw the first ball pan, but now we've seen escalation. I remember when I left Trinidad, we had a 12 bass. Someone actually playing 12 bass, and to see how we have evolved, even having miking instrumentation of the steel pan that we have growing, and we have yet more to grow. And I know it's probably I probably may have drifted, but from your introduction, I need to introduce myself. I am Dr. Jawad Patrick Griffith Abdullah. I kept my middle name so that I'm not running away from my past. It's all me. I grew up Christian in Trinidad and came here and converted to Islam back in the 76, there about bicentennial year. And it has opened my eyes to other ways of life. My travel has been blessed through my engineering to have traveled the world and saw the other side, the Pacific, Singapore, Malaysia, as I mentioned, Germany, France, Crete, Las Palmas, Mexico, several times, and this academic pursuit did open the world up to me, and have been traveling and to have gone to so many places, and every time someone would say, "Where are you from?" Excuse me, I would say Trinidad and Tobago, of course, and they would say, "Oh, someone here worked here from Tobago, or someone lived. I knew somebody from Trinidad." And it's always it seems like we go all over the world, and this little island, this dot on the world map, to have had such impact on so many generations. It's generational because you have the young people playing the steel pan as well as the elders, and that range, and to get different ethnicities, music is something we hear from birds. It's something we hear from the trees, from the wind, and to know that we're able to do that from that piece of steel that had been stretched and notes carved. I think of Miss Butch Kelman, one of the tuners that I've seen at work as well. Another good friend of mine, Mr. Roland Harrigan. He used to tune for Phase Two, and he was tuning for Phase Two in Japan one year, and we had the first steel pan in Atlanta's carnival. Prior to that, there was the boxes and music, and so we decided one year we'll play steel pan for the Atlanta Carnival. So we were the last band cleaning up the streets, as it were. So we came on truck and did our thing, and Roland Harrigan left Japan, came, and we made some steel drums in Miss Dr. Jamu's backyard, heating the pan and we got a maul from Home Depot and stretched the material out, and he carved the notes, and we were ready carnival day to go on the road and do our thing and to see um, to know that one day I would have the opportunity to be this much affiliated to the pan. So locally, what am I doing here? I am current president of Whitaker, West Indian Dance and Culture Association, which is primarily a gardening organization. We plant food and give to the um, needy. Now, our president transitioned several years ago, so our group is sort of inactive at the moment. However, I'm also a co-founder, along with Mr. Henry Beard, of the Trinidad and Tobago Steel Band Association, new organization. And we intend going forward, a matter of fact, we have an event planned for August 10th. I'll be in Trinidad and a little while, but August 10th, we're going to celebrate the steel pan here locally. We're going to have some awards given out to those who have been championing the pan over the years. I can think of Mr. Lenny Rogers, one who fixed a fixture, as they would say, in playing steel pan. He has been to many funerals, many weddings and functions, and even events. And he would be there playing the steel pan for hours. He has a backup drum machine and so on, and does his thing. And we have one Dexter Keene, all these guys, Mr. Semper and his son, and it's so many to mention. Emerald Gray, who does he now specializes in making pan sticks and sells his pan sticks globally. So to know that the instrument and the accompaniment as a acoustic accompaniment, that they have now been copyrighted and trademarked with um, the trade with the governmental agency, that we now have that representation, and is something that is carved indelibly in the minds and hearts of people, that this is a creation out of Trinidad. Again, this little dot on the world map having such an impact into the lives of people around the world. You get all genres of music played on the instrument. So again, we're looking forward to having our local event and exposing more of our Baltimore community to the steel pan, and how wonderful it would be to get more and more youths involved in the steel pan.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jawad.
Most welcome.
We got a ton of history and a lot of context in that historical presentation you just gave us. For this World Steel Pan Day program that you all will be holding on August 10th. Is it like an early morning or mid afternoon, evening program? What's the design and the time frame?
Okay. We have been the time frame will be from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. and it's being hosted at a location down near the renowned John Hopkins University. They have a sort of amphitheater on the 900 block of North Wolf Street, near Wolf and Eagle, closer to the hospital. So on that night, from 3 to 7, we will have a program of events, award presentations, as well as we'll have vendors and so on. And we hope from year to year that event will grow and blossom, and others will come in and make something of it. But we have initially set the groundwork as an organization to have this event annually.
Awesome. World Steel Pan Day it's a world theme the United Nations established for the pan. And I was just wondering if you all intend to bring steel pan musicians from out of town, out of country, to give that international flavor, to feature somebody from outside on your program. So when you advertise, you bring more people. They may say, want to hear this pan group. Are you guys thinking about that, or are you just staying local?
No, I think we have to go because of the international recognition that we are forced now to go look beyond. And so this is just a microcosm or a small prototype we'll have. However, we hope to expand. And Borrow Day was bringing that international flavor. As I said before, bringing in Ken Professor Fillmore and Andy Norrell back then give us that feeling that others can come into Baltimore, the very historical city, and make some kind of contribution. Many artists come through here and playing all different genres from the Caribbean. Excuse me. But I think we too would love to have that. And I think it would be a benefit for the students. We have so many high schools with steel pan groups that they too, once they get involved, they would like to see as well that international flavor of the steel pan.
Yes. Well, I'm a Torontonian. I live in Toronto. I'm based in Toronto. I'm rooted in Trinidad and Tobago. I have my African heritage. I have my Grenadian heritage. My U.S. proteges, or my children and grandchildren. Many of them, they reside here in this beautiful Baltimore city.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to that sort of program that's coming up on August 10th. I'll be returning from Grenada just about a month earlier, and I'll be looking forward to maybe coming by. So I'll have to talk to you some more on that.
Good.
And if there is a performance space available, I would like to even partner with somebody here in the city. I play the tenor pan. I play a little bit of double second.
Excellent.
And so I want to take a little jam.
Excuse me.
World Steel Pan Day, you got to bring out your hardware.
Yes.
And engage within the global
confines.
The global performers. So you can say, what did you do for World Steel Pan Day 2024?
Yes.
Well, I took my double second, I took my tenor pan, and I went to Baltimore, and I was jamming with these guys down in the city. I'm looking forward to something like that. So you can always reach out to me and tell me if there's an available space. I'm not the greatest player, but I could groove, I could jam.
Yes.
All right.
That's the thing. One thing about steel pan, you just fall in the pan yard.
Yes.
And you learn the runs.
Beat the iron.
Yes. Do something. You can fall in somewhere.
That's right.
That's right. We all have that heart.
Yes.
And we follow that, and we be in good stead.
Thank you. So I want to thank you so much for sacrificing some time to spend with us.
Definitely.
And we're gonna publish this video on my YouTube channel.
Yes.
And I'll try to get some coverage so that people can know more about it.
All right.
What is your last word for us tonight?
The word is that music is universal, and we have been blessed in Trinidad to be innovative, to be creative in many respects. I know steel pan is one aspect of our carnival. The creativity, I think of the likes of a George Bailey back in the day with Mass, and the creativity that would come out of it. I remember anti-K program and the taking of orange cans and grapefruit cans and making like an instrument out of the different pans. That creativity would be blossom, and I would be remiss if I wouldn't mention our ambassador who was here in Baltimore, in Washington D.C., and was recalled to Trinidad, the Admiral General Anthony Spencer. Who was a he was an avid lover of the steel pan and followed it around all over the state of Maryland. And we certainly miss him here and know that he made contribution whilst he was here. There's also a group in this local area, Delmarva area, that covers Delaware. There's a couple in Delaware that has their own steel pan. Name slipped me right now. However, we were both Toastmasters on a state level, and she would bring her band down from Delaware to perform here in Maryland. There was also I would be remiss if I didn't also mention the event that just had a couple of weeks ago in Virginia, Virginia Steel Pan Festival, and my friend Leonard Jack, who I found out from Miss Vanessa, I listened to When Steel Talks, and I also listen to WAC radio station in San Fernando, 90.1 FM, with all the different music DJs that come across the program during the week, and to hear that we are striving and making inroads, and I would just love that everyone continue in whatever aspect, whatever capacity, to promote our instrument and to see it grow from strength to strength by the grace of the Most High.
Awesome. And ashe to that. Ashe.
Yes, indeed.
We will pick up this conversation maybe in the jam session sometime in August again. Okay?
Creator willing.
That's right. That's right. So send me the flyer. You have my contact. I'll post it on my YouTube channel.
Oh, good.
My
Excellent.
YouTube channel, by the way, for those who will want to know, it is youtube.com / the @ Michael Joseph Enviropan.
Enviropan.
Yes, I have pan in an environmental context
Okay.
in my research background. So
Nice.
again, it is youtube.com / the @ Michael Joseph Enviropan. Okay. And you will see things related to steel pan. You will see things related to IFA festivals. You will see things related to family stories.
Okay.
You get a lot of things. So it caters to like the holistic Black experience in a family and a community context.
Awesome. Okay.
Michael Joseph Enviropan. That's the YouTube connection.
All right. Nice.
Thank you very much.
Most welcome, sir.
All right.
Nice, Michael.
Yes.
Pleasure meeting you.
You're welcome.
Yes. God bless. Thank you.